Star Citizen doesn't have a pirate problem. He has a fake pirate problem. Because most of what we call pirates in Star Citizen right now aren't real pirates. They're just murder hobos. And yeah, I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. Because real pirates, they don't just float around killing people for fun. That's not how piracy works. That's not how criminal organizations work. And honestly, that's not even good sandbox gameplay. Real pirates control territory. They move illegal goods, they shake people down, they tax routes, they build fear, reputations, and influence. What we have right now in Star Citizen is mostly just random violence with a pirate label slapped onto it. And those are not the same thing. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying piracy should go away. Actually, I want the exact opposite. I want piracy to become real. I want real pirate orgs. I want dangerous routes. I want smuggling networks. I want black markets. I want tolls. I want extortion. I want shady trade lanes, where people know exactly whose turf they're flying into. Because that will make Star Citizen better for everyone. Haulers will have real risk. Escorts will have real jobs. Bounty hunters will have real targets. Security orgs will make matter more. Lawful players would actually have something to organize against. But right now, most piracy in Star Citizen is just killing for the sake of killing. That's not piracy, that's just empty chaos. When most people hear the word pirate, they picture one thing: a ship attack, cargo theft, a guy yelling over comms, maybe a colorless black in the dark. And sure, that's part of the fantasy. But real pirates, historically, and even in most modern times, our gangs, cartels, are not just random killers. They're criminal organizations. They control areas, they enforce their own rules. They tax movement, they sell protection. They move stolen goods, they depend on underground markets, they build networks. And most importantly, they need people alive. Because a dead trader can't pay a toll. A destroyed route makes no money. A burned down economy feeds nobody. That's the difference. Real pirates want control, not just destruction. Violence is a tool. It's not the whole job. That is exactly where Star Citizen fails right now. Because yes, Star Citizen has danger, absolutely no question. But danger is not the same thing as piracy. Piracy only works when the game supports it as an economy, as a lifestyle. And right now, it really doesn't. What we have instead is a sandbox where players can commit crimes, sure, but most of the time, there's no deeper purpose behind it. No real territorial control. No meaningful criminal economy. No lasting identity. No pirate code. No real social enforcement. And usually, no reason to keep the victim alive. So what happens? Some guy sees you, he attacks you, maybe he says nothing, maybe he blows you instantly. Maybe he just wants a reaction. Maybe he's bored. That's not piracy. That's just random PvP pretending to be piracy. And those two are very different things. This is the real issue. A murder hobo doesn't need structure. A murder hobo doesn't need a market. A murder hobo doesn't need territory. A murder hobo doesn't need long-term goals. They just show up, cause chaos, and leave. That's why so many pirate encounters in Star Citizen feel hollow. There's no larger criminal ecosystem behind them. There's no code, no network, no underworld, no sense of what you just crossed into something else's space. A real pirate encounter should feel like you ran into an organized threat, a group, a system, a criminal structure. Instead, a lot of the time, it just feels like you run into a guy looking for content. That just hurts the entire game. Because when piracy is shallow, the lawful side becomes shallow too. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Star Citizen actually could have something and some of the best piracy in gaming. Imagine jumping into a trade lane that everybody knows is dangerous. Not because it's random, because it is controlled. There's a specific org there. Everybody knows their name. Everybody knows their style. Everybody knows that if you go through that route, you're entering their territory. Maybe they only fly Drake ships, cutlasses, corsairs, caterpillars, buccaneers. Maybe the whole identity is built around it. They use gray markets. They work with smugglers. They move illegal cargo. They enforce their own rules. They roleplay seriously. They leave the part. Now, you enter that lane, and they don't instantly blow you up. They hail you. They scan you. They tell you exactly what's happening. Now that is in fact piracy. Because now there's communication. Now there's structure. Now there's a choice. Now there's tension. Do you pay? Do you run? Do you fight? Do you go for escort? Do you remember their name and avoid that route next time? That creates a story. Murder Hobo doesn't create a story. He creates a loading screen. So what does Star Citizen actually need to make real piracy work? Well, first it needs a stronger economy, a much stronger one. Pirates need something to feed on. Trade routes that have to have matter. Cargo has to matter. Stolen goods have to matter. Black markets have to matter. There needs to be real places to move illegal goods and real profit in doing it. Because if the whole criminal loop is just blow up ship, maybe grab some boxes, then piracy is always going to feel half finished. Second, it needs better consequences and identity, not just punishment. Identity. If you are a known pirate, that should follow you. Some places should hate you. Some places should welcome you. Some buyers should trust you more. Some factions should want you dead. Some lawful ports should want nothing to do with you. Your reputation should shape how you live in the universe. That's when piracy starts being cosplay, starts being a profession. Third, it needs social systems. And we're talking real ones. Pirates should need scouts, informants, smugglers, fence contacts, mechanics, cargo handlers. People who aren't just there to shoot. Fourth, it needs territorial pressure. Not necessarily hard ownership with flags planted in the ground, but influence, presence, reach, the feeling that certain groups dominate certain areas. The moment players start planning around dangerous territory, the sandbox starts feeling alive. And fifth, maybe most importantly, the game needs more reasons not to kill everybody. This is huge, because the moment the best pirate outcome is your compliance instead of your death, everything changes. Now pirates want leverage. Now they want ransom. Now they want tolls. Now they want repeat profit. Now they want fear with purpose. This is criminal behavior. This is why I think people are getting this wrong. Better piracy will not just help pirates, it will help everybody. Haulers will have more meaningful decisions. Escorts will become valuable. Mercenaries will matter more. Bounty hunters will matter more. Security orgs will matter more. Smugglers will matter more. Even casual players will get better stories out of the game. Because a living universe is not built on safety alone. It's built on tension, on risk, competing interests, human systems colliding with each other. Right now, Star Citizen has danger, but not enough structure behind that danger. So, instead of real underworld, we get chaos. And chaos, well, chaos gets old fast. So no, I don't think Star Citizen has a pirate problem. I think it has an unfinished sandbox problem. Because the game still doesn't consistently create the kind of criminal ecosystem that turns random killers into real pirates. And until it does, most piracy is going to feel fake. Not because pirate players aren't wrong, not because criminal gameplay shouldn't exist, but because the game still doesn't fully support the role the way it needs to. That's why I actually want more pirate systems, not fewer. I want pirates to be feared for the right reasons. Because they are organized, because they are profitable, because they control routes, because they shape the world around them, because they make the universe feel alive. That's when Star Citizen will finally have real pirates. And when that happens, the whole game gets better. But that's just my take. Do you think Star Citizen actually has pirates right now? Or do you think most of what we have are just murder hobos with ship skins and excuses? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you stayed here through this video, I appreciate it. I thank you. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.